Hello, 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 hello. So good to see you. Well, I hope you see me. You're watching this video. My name is Astrid. I am here roughly every week and coming in with answers on your questions. And when there are no questions, then I find a topic to talk about. But I encourage you to send me your questions or just pop them under the video, so that inspires me also to bring into these small talks something that is helpful for you, that is helpful for your journey, and something that you are wondering about. Now, since there was no question, I took a topic that I get the questions a lot in general around, which is practicing Yin Yoga on a cold body. Now, I find this word cold body already a little bit, what is the word? Morbid in English, I think, because it assumes that you're not very much alive anymore. So maybe we say on a cool body. Not cool in like, hey, see me, my ego, I'm very cool, but more like cool in the sense that you're not warmed up. And this is always a huge debate, like around like when to practice yin, and should it be warm or cold in the room? Should we do it right out of bed in the morning? Then a lot of people don't have the time, or they might be like me, and when I do yin in the morning, even though my body might benefit from it a lot, I become very sleepy because I have quite a lot of yin in me in a way sometimes. So what to do here? So I'll give you another understanding around this, something to contemplate on, and then, like with everything, you make your own decisions in there, and also what you tell your students if you get this question. But to take a little bit of a broader perspective than something that's been said for a long time, that you practice yin only on this cold/cool body, because then we're not engaged in the muscles, so it's easier to reach the connective tissue. Which in a way is maybe nice to say, but there's also a few other things to think about. Think about fascia. Fascia eventually melts easier in warmer temperatures. This is why when you go to hot yoga, you feel more open. Yes? Fascia is this largest surface area of your body, and becomes more pliable in warmer temperatures. So the ability to change its shape from this gel-like substance, and we hope it's gel-like and it's not like glued together, but especially when it's glued together, practicing on this cold/cool body is super painful, because there's just like nothing going on, as a person feels very super stiff. And then bring someone like that already has like, but body is super stiff, I cannot do anything. Practicing then on a cool body and going into this right away discomfort might not be very beneficial. So when the room is a little bit warmer, or the body is warmed up in a yin way, and that is what it's all about, still doing things in a yin way. So we're not doing the same vinyasa warm-ups. We might do things like tapping and clapping the body. Yes, this is a warm-up also, and this opens the tissues, and this gets everything flowing, all the fluids, and this sort of warms it up, but in a very different way as most people think warm-ups are, which is like this stretching and doing and whatever. This is not what we're looking for, I would say. We keep the yin attitude in there. So the ability to change the state of the fascia from just gel-like to more liquidy, which also it has a certain name. It's called trixotrophy it's like this very difficult word, forget about it. But think about this jelly-like stuff, yes, and we want to let it become a little bit more fluid in general, not for everyone. This happens just with a warmer temperature in general. So people who live in the tropics, like me, living constantly in 26, 28 degrees, our body responds very differently than when you live in Nebraska and it's minus 40 for half the year. Yeah. And when you live in Nebraska and it's minus 40 for half the year, then you don't want to practice your yin on a cool/cold body. You want to warm it up first to feel a little bit more comfortable, and from that comfortability it's way easier to practice your yin also with a yin attitude and to become like, I don't know, less responsive than when it is minus 40 outside and you might heat up your place, but your body might still be like this and like uncomfortable or cramping or whatever. It's not very useful. So you use this like simple things like tapping and clapping to warm up, to get everything flowing inside the body, and also breathing exercise can help with that. I have nothing against bringing a Kapalabhati into the practice in the beginning, maybe, if it has a function. And this is with everything we do in yin. If it's functional, it has a reason, and a good reason for that person, for your class, for the environment, for whatever, then I would say do it. And everything you do, everything you teach, everything you practice yourself, do it with a yin attitude, and it stays yin practice. So coming back to that fact that it becomes more fluid, more warmer, more gel-like, even crystallized when we warm the body a little bit. Yes. Sorry, the gel and crystallized when it is cooler, and the fluid is of course when it is a little bit warmer. So that means that the best way to melt our fascias when our body is least is at room temperature. Or slightly a little bit warmer. So this might be a good translation from the cool body or cold body that we don't mean, or I think our teachers never meant that the body is like cold, which is below room temperature. Yes. So when it is below room temperature, it's not the best environment to practice yin. It becomes very, very difficult. So yeah, bring up some nice tapping, clapping, gentle cat-cow, anything. Maybe a breath of fire with a yin attitude in the beginning, and there is more comfort and release in the body to come to this restorative state of relaxation, and this relaxation response also for the nervous system. And then the yin practice can really be practiced with an easier yin attitude as well. What temperature to practice in exactly? Like you may be questioning now, should I go to a hot yoga room and do my yin there, or do yin in the sauna? And I had these questions a lot over the years. And I've been teaching for a few years also yin yoga in a hot yoga studio, where we didn't put the heat on as they would do in a hot yoga / Bikram class, lower, but still warmer than a normal room temperature. And a lot of people liked it. It brought a lot of relaxation for a lot of people. But what it exactly needs to be is really depending on the person. You don't want to like overly sweat, of course, in a yin class. So yeah, we could debate if you like warm hot yoga is good or not, because practicing hot yin, for example, for some people it might be super beneficial, especially that person that feels super stiff, which has not fluidity in their fascia, but it's not even gel, it's like everything stuck together in the body. Then in this hot yoga room, like in a sauna, it will start to open up. And then they can take a lot of advantage of their yin practice with the yin attitude in a hotter room. Now, someone that isn't that stiff in their fascia and not even gel, but very much intertwined, take someone who is hypermobile. Then you might not want to practice in a hot yoga room, because this fully gives this person no ability to feel into where to stop, because the body becomes maybe super floppy. And then it all depends on this person's ego, what they do with it. If they can stay at their 50%, so to say, before their edge, yeah, why not? If they like the heat, why not? But if they then would just flop full out in their caterpillar, there's no use for this heat anymore. Why would you do it? And coming back to ego in this as well, thinking about, again, this cool or cold body. Now, in a normal practice where we warm up, a yoga practice where we warm up, we might feel a bigger range of motion in the body. So say my seated forward bend, I can touch with my nose to my knees. I cannot, but just like, let's imagine. I like to imagine that. And it's funny, last week I actually dreamt that in my forward fold, standing forward fold, I could touch my nose to my knees. And it felt really, really strange. And in my dream also, I tried over and over again, and it only happened once. And it only happened once in my life, and this was after, and this is very, very weird that happened, but I had no sense of my physical body at that moment anymore, is when my mentor actually gave me I think it was 5 days of very, very, very powerful homeopathy. And eventually, one of those days, I went onto my mat in the morning to do my Hatha Yoga practice, and I did not sense any stretch in my body. Didn't touch with my nose to my knees. I cannot. But normally I feel a stretch on the back line of my body. I felt nothing. It was the weirdest thing, like, as my physical body was not present in my practice at all. I had no sensations in that physical body, and there was only that morning, and then later on the day it slowly came back. And I remember I'm still asking my mentor now, like 5-6 years later. I'm like, it was my yoga therapy mentor. I'm like, what was it you gave me that I lost the full sense of my physical body, which was like out of this world? But yeah, that's sidetracking. Coming back to the ego, let's imagine that a student can, in a seated forward fold in Hatha Yoga, easily touch with their nose, their knees. And this is because when they warmed up the body, they can do that. Now, when we would practice Yin Yoga on a cold/cool body, then the ego might come in thinking that, yes, in my Hatha practice, I can bring my nose to my knees. But in Yin, on my cool body, which is not warmed up, I want to go there as well, because I know it's possible. And they might start to push and pull in their Yin practice. Which in Yin, we just let it happen, whatever happens. We're not pushing and pulling. It's also a little bit of a different way we take the pose. So, but the ego might come in that way as well when we practice on a cool, colder body. So eventually, I'm just giving you things here to ponder on, to contemplate, to think about. And I'm not saying this is right, this is wrong. This would also not be the Yin attitude, and absolutely not the way we observe this whole practice from the Taoist way. So, but more a few things to think about. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little talk. And as I said in the beginning, send me your questions. This question came out of somewhere else I'm teaching, but it's very relevant because I get this question a lot. And it's something I started to question my own teachers in there that always said, no, it needs to be on a cool, cold body. And some of them debunk that in a way. And I'm playing around with it. And I've always been, but this is my point of view, not against gentle warm-ups, not against using things like ujjayi breath, as long it has a function and as long as it is done with the yin attitude. And yeah, again, if you live in Nebraska, it's -40. I have a friend here. She normally lives in Nebraska. Now she came here on this side of the world to avoid the -40 for 3-4 months. She feels way better. By the continuously 26, 28, 30 degrees we have here. Yeah, imagine her doing yin in Nebraska where she always feels cold, even inside her house. And there's no way that her yin practice can start from comfortability. If we cannot start from this